Few villains in comic book history have earned the same level of fear, fascination, and infamy as the Green Goblin, the diabolical alter ego of Norman Osborn and one of Spider-Man's most enduring enemies. First appearing in The Amazing Spider-Man number 14 in 1963, this cackling madman with a jet-powered glider has cemented his place in Marvel Comics as a symbol of chaos, power, and psychological torment. But beyond the supervillain facade lies a deeper cultural resonance, an archetype that mirrors the goblins of folklore and fantasy. The Green Goblin was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, introduced as a mysterious, theatrical villain who combined technological weaponry with an unnerving clown-like persona. Norman Osborn, a brilliant but ruthless industrialist, eventually stepped into the costume, transforming himself into a monstrous embodiment of madness fueled by an experimental serum designed to enhance his intellect and strength. The serum worked, but with devastating side effects. It shattered Osborn's sanity, birthing a dual personality that relished mayhem, manipulation, and murder. As the Green Goblin, Osborn became Peter Parker's ultimate nemesis, not only discovering his secret identity, but also committing one of the darkest acts in comic book history, the death of Gwen Stacy. What sets Green Goblin apart from other comic book villains is the tragic complexity of his character. Norman Osborn is not a mere criminal, he is a father, businessman, and scientist who willingly sacrifices his humanity in pursuit of power. Over the years, the mantle of the Goblin has been taken up by others, including Harry Osborn, Norman's son, Burt Hamilton, and Phil Urich, each adding new layers of psychological and thematic depth. Despite these iterations, Norman remains the most iconic Green Goblin, a villain whose personal vendetta against Spider-Man is as much philosophical as it is physical. The Green Goblin's name and appearance were no accident. He shares numerous traits with the goblins of folklore and fantasy, making him a modern reinterpretation of an ancient mythological figure. For example, traditional goblins are often depicted as tricksters, creatures of chaos who delight in causing confusion, destruction, and suffering. The Green Goblin embodies this trait, often using elaborate psychological games to torment Spider-Man. Fantasy goblins are typically small, grotesque beings with exaggerated features. While the Green Goblin is human-sized, his costume reflects that same grotesque design, sharp ears, a devilish grin, and a garish color palette that invokes unease. Goblins are known for their ingenuity with traps and devices. Osborn's arsenal, pumpkin bombs, razor bats, and trick gadgets, is consistent with this, reinforcing his goblin-like inventiveness. The Green Goblin's insanity mirrors the unpredictable, often deranged behavior of goblins in mythology, who operate outside the bounds of reason and morality. In folklore, goblins are often obsessed with gold, power, or dark magic. Norman Osborn's hunger for corporate and personal dominance is an echo of this greed-driven archetype. The Green Goblin is a striking example of how classic fantasy archetypes can be adapted to modern superhero mythology. Where traditional goblins might hoard treasure or guard dark forests, the Green Goblin hoards secrets and wages psychological warfare in the urban jungle of New York City. His very name invokes fear not only because of what he's done but because of what he represents, the Goblin as an enduring symbol of unrestrained chaos, malevolence, and the darkness that can lie beneath a civilized exterior. Though birthed in the colorful pages of 1960s comic books, the Green Goblin is a character with ancient roots. He bridges the gap between the caped villains of modern superhero stories and the mischievous, malevolent entities of fantasy lore. His legacy is one of tragedy, terror, and twisted brilliance, an enduring testament to how ancient archetypes can be reinvented to terrify and thrill new generations. Whether you see him as Norman Osborn, a ruthless industrialist, or as a modern-day goblin king riding a glider through the night sky, one thing is certain: the Green Goblin remains one of the most unforgettable foes in the Marvel Universe, and perhaps one of the most frightening goblins in all of fiction.